gonna ever see this man again? I don't know. I pulled back, licking my lips. I'd almost gotten carried away and drank too much. It was so hard to help myself. The young man was still slumped in my arms, peacefully unconscious. I could still feel his heart beating, and his skin didn't look too pale. He'd wake up before long, or so I hoped. But I couldn't waste any more time. I needed to head towards the garage to catch the meeting before it ended, so I decided to carry him somewhere safe. I didn't even look at the other option. This is LA at night, and leaving an unconscious guy laying in the alley was probably one step away from manslaughter. Funny how this boy was more in danger from his fellow man than from a monster like me. Grabbing him under his arms, I dragged his ragdoll body through the shadows, searching the nearby buildings for a safe place to leave him. It wasn't long before I found an old dentist office, long since abandoned. I kicked open the door and set the man down inside the dark, dusty waiting room, tossing a rug on top of him for a blanket. Better than nothing, probably. At last, with a somewhat lightened conscience, I hurried back to the street. But as I rushed towards the parking garage, saving the last drops of blood on my tongue, I couldn't stop thinking about what just happened. So this is what it was meant to be a vampire. An urban, unholy apex predator. A parasite, just like Marcus has said, living off somebody else's life. There really was no going back. July company parking garage closing October 8. How many Octobers ago, I wondered. Judging from the litter and grime all around the sign, probably quite a few has passed. Well, it didn't matter. This was the place. A bored-looking thug stood by the entrance, obviously stationed as a guard. My first trial, by the looks of it. Putting on a confident expression, I strode up to him, clearing my throat. Place is closed. Go dick around somewhere else. He barked a few short words out at me before I could even open my mouth. Shit. No, it's not this one. Oh yeah, I guess you do kind of look like one of them nutty bastards. He peered into my face suspiciously, letting out a grunt. But Randall told me not to let anyone else inside. Too much shit at stake. Do I want to? We're not that type, to be honest, now that I think about it. Are we? I don't think so. You know what? What a shame. I figured you were a type of guy who liked cash. Cash? He paused, a greedy light flickering in his eyes. Alright. How much cash we talking about here? Fork it over and I'll say, you got asked when I wasn't looking. Hand over the money, motioned him closer to punch his lights out. We're not that kind of person either, are we? Hand over the money. Do we have money? Do we have a money system here? Yeah, baby. I handed him everything left in my wallet, which was apparently enough to buy me the backstage pass I needed. With any luck, I could get money back from Charisse later, a legitimate business expense. Well, what the hell are you waiting for? Get your ass inside before I change my mind. The guard stepped aside. I didn't waste any time hurrying into the garage. I was lucky they only had muscle and not brains in front of the entrance. After darting down a few levels of the garage at top speed, I finally arrived. Loud whispers and rowdy laughter made it sound like the meeting hadn't started yet. I was just in time. The two groups standing across from each other were pretty clear-cut, and I could easily tell which house was which. One was full of rough types, probably gangsters and punks in life. Tattoos, leather jackets, piercings, and wild eyes were everywhere. The other group, interestingly enough, looked like the complete opposite. Eccentric outfits, soft murmurs, and a large amount of eerie smiles. Almost instantly, I felt a pull towards them. In this strange dark world, the Golgotha seemed to shine brightly. It seemed like a library full of answers to all the questions swirling inside my head. But I didn't have a choice. I knew I'd have to wait before finally getting my hands on those answers. Alright, let's cut the bullshit and talk conditions. A deep voice suddenly boomed to the garage, making everyone fall silent. Look at this boy. Not that different from when the first. Okay, I gotta see what other sprites he has. Oh, I'm so excited. Moments later, a tall, muscular vampire pushed his way to the front of the Mavar. The sheer force of his presence made it instantly clear who he was. When I blinked, I thought I saw some sort of circlet at his head, shining brightly. But it vanished the next moment. Just an illusion. I only agreed to this meeting because I hate those Ishkar bastards more than I hate you. I'm guessing it's mutual. Hold on. Editing Ray is here. When I was playing this updated demo, I was actually wondering in my head, like, why does he have bandages on his hands? And it didn't occur to me until right this moment that I'm like, wait, he had that Halo thing going on. Hold on. Is he Vampire Jesus? If you want to choose, there'd better be something to sweeten the deal. I don't think these guys here will settle for anything less. Yeah! Hell yeah, don't let him weasel out, Randall. Cheers of approval rang out from the rowdy group behind him. Why, of course, Mr. Randall. We wouldn't dream of offering anything but the fairest of terms from our Mavar brethren. One of Golgotha vampires stepped forward, his lips cracking into a Cheshire cat grin. Fuck you, slimy bastard. We know what your game is. Znar's and jeering instantly rustled among the Mavar in response. Fairest, sure. You bastards could cheat a blind guy at dice if you could get away with it. God. His arms. His poses are cool. So what are you gonna try to sell us? Fortune-telling services, voodoo magic? We're gonna need something realer than empty promises. It was a laugh. The Golgotha vampire let out a smug chuckle like he had hidden a trump card ready. I didn't like the sound of that. If I was going to crash and burn this meeting, then I had to do something now before they worked out a deal. Ah! I'm stressed. I'm stressed. This is a bad idea. Whoa! Hey, watch where you're... Rushing through the crowd of Mavar, I bolted to Randall as fast as I could. I pulled out his knife and held it in my palms, trying to keep my face from revealing anything. Whoa. What the hell are you doing, kid? He glared at me, shocked and suspicious, and I realized that if I couldn't convince him, that accusing look might be the last thing I'd ever see. Oh my god, is this the thing? I got the scepter for the Rebel King. I interrupted with this. Oh god, I love this one. Sept, Christ, who let one of the crazies come over here? I don't know what you're... Oh god, so good. What the... Cutting off mid-sentence, Randall glanced down at the knife in my hands. Then his eyes slid back to mine, meeting my gaze wordlessly for a few moments. You got this from... One of my siblings. Let's play it! Huh, you mean a Golgotha. He took a deep breath. Those They stole it from me? Holy hell. God, the face was so good. Excuse me? Mr. Randall, would you mind explaining what's going on? The leader of the Gaul group called over to us, clearly confused. Damn it, I can't deal with this shit right now. Mr. Randall, awfully sorry to interrupt, but we'd like to present our Get the fuck out of here. All of you bastards! Meeting's fucking cancelled. Randall's angry command echoed through the garage, loud enough to make a few vampires wince. And you guys, make sure those motherfuckers scurry back to their rat holes. He addressed his own group with a low growl, which was met with hurried nods and eager knuckle crackling. I'll meet you outside in a little while. Go on, get going. Alright, you heard the man. Come on, let's go. Within seconds, the garage turned into a chaotic mess of Gaul vampires fending off rabid Mavar, who pushed and shoved them to the exit. It was easy to tell how much Randall's group was hungry for a fight, but the Gaul vampires stayed like they refused to give the Mavar what they wanted. The confusion and shouting went on for a few hectic minutes, but eventually the garage emptied, leaving behind only Randall and me. Oh, hello. Man, you got some balls. After a few moments of silence, Randall let out a long, tired sigh, finally turning his attention back to me. That was supposed to be a trick, right? You were trying to turn me against the ghouls. Not gonna lie, it was a pretty shitty attempt. Even if they did bring my knife as a bargaining chip, there's no way they'd be that careless with it. Let me guess. Queen bitch sent you, didn't she? Huh? I don't know what you're talking about. No, my mother had spoken to me here. Oh my god, no. You mean Cherise. Cherise. Who the hell else? Oh god, no. Cross arms. Fucking Cherise. Figures. She must have known I'd see through this. It's too obvious. What the hell is she aiming for? Ishkar and their mind games, damn it. Randall growled deep in his throat, fangs bared like a wild animal. But his rage didn't seem focused at me, much to my surprise. He was still holding the knife too, so I considered myself lucky. Ugh. Finally he let out a groan, most of the anger on his face fading into annoyance. Probably good we didn't bargain with those freaks anyway. They were up to something, just like always. But you. I've never seen your face before, and I've seen just about every vampire in LA. And since you were sent on a suicide mission, it doesn't take a whole lot of detective work to see that you're new. Cannon fodder, kicked out to die. What's your name, anyway? Why should I tell you? It's Ash. Ash, huh? Well, Ash, way to make a fucking entrance. He doesn't sound quite as pissed as I figured he'd be. I should probably tear you up for pulling that shit on us, but... man, I guess you didn't get much of a choice. It didn't. Just like Queen Bitch, taking a newbie and throwing him out to the sharks. But there's not a whole lot I can do for you, not with her on high alert. The Ishkar, I keep getting saying Ishkar, but I think it's the Iskari, still have the most power in LA right now, so if Cherise wanted you dead, well, you'd be dead. She'd find you no matter where you tried to hide out. Taking you in right now, well, it's too much of a risk, and I gotta look out for me and my group. Oh my god, this music is so good. His shoulders raised in a hapless shrug, one hand scratching at the back of his head. He really did sound apologetic, even though he didn't necessarily have any reason to be. Well, Cherise wants a truce with you eventually. Would you agree to one? So, how do you feel about working with the Ishkari? What? She says you're the leader of the Mavar and wants to be allies. For some godforsaken reason, she thinks you'd be a good to work with. She says you're the leader of the Mavar and wants to be allies. Ha! A choked laughter of disbelief erupted from his throat. If he reacted like that to just the mention of an alliance, it probably didn't bode well for Cherise. That's the dumbest thing I've heard all month. And I just read a magazine ad trying to sell my... What? That's the dumbest thing I've heard all month. And that... I'm sorry, I keep reading ahead and I'm just like... That's the dumbest thing I've read all month. And I just read a magazine ad trying to tell me my dick wasn't big enough. Sure, these guys look up to me, but I'm not their leader. They have no leader. That's kind of the fucking point. Told her that 100 goddamn times, too. Hard concept for a dolled up fascist to grasp, I guess. He muttered his last words spitefully, grinding a stray piece of gravel underneath his foot. You sure sounded like a leader earlier. Are you sure you're not just deluding yourself? You sure sounded like a leader earlier. Me? I'm just their voice, you know, 50 guys shouting at once. That can get loud. Now one guy speaking for the group, that makes negotiations a lot easier. Even if I'd rather negotiate with my knuckles in that smug fucker's face. He snarled, grinding his fist into his palm, glaring in the direction of the Golgotha ran off earlier. Christ. Can't believe Queen Bitch thinks I'll work under her. Every Iskari is always out to use or to kill you for power. That's just how it goes. They say they're all about beauty and peace and words over fighting, but it's all a frickin' sham. One big bunch of snakes. And what do you think of us? You're an angry vandal, alright? Oh god, please. Vandal? My name's Randall. You trying to be funny? Oh, you're one of the... Yeah, damn. I should have guessed. He pinched the bridge of his nose with his thumb and forefinger, grimacing. Kid, I got bad news for you. Your house, you got a lot of talents, weird visions, prophetic dreams, seeing into people's hearts and the second you meet them, stuff like that. But it's gonna get hard, real hard. A lot of newbie gulls, they can't handle all the new gifts, don't know how to separate reality from fantasy, completely insane within a week. Damn, oh, doomed. So, try to keep it together, okay? That's my secret, I never had it together in the first place. I will, Randall, don't worry. It's Randall, dammit. Don't you play the game with me. Anyway, if you haven't met Marcus yet, I should hook you up. He's the best gull, hell, one of the best guys, period, I know around here. Marcus is amazing, weird sunglasses and all. I wish I could phrase things as confusing as he does. Ran into him once and I think that's plenty. I wish I could phrase things as confusingly as he does. Marcus is amazing, weird sunglasses and all. Ooh, it's between these two. I wish I could phrase things as confusingly as he does. Aw, don't sound so bummed out, newbie. You'll get... Oh my god, I love him. Aw, don't sound so bummed out, newbie. You'll pull off the crazy prophet vibe someday. I got a feeling. Grinning broadly, he flashes me an encouraging wink. Please stop being so positive! Was that supposed to be a compliment? Marcus, man. I used to hate his guts, since he was always playing nice with Queen Bitch. Not to mention the slow, preachy way he talks. But then, when I shut up and actually listened to what he said, I realized he got it all figured out. The politics, the mind games, everything. Randall paused, shaking his head in bemused awe. He didn't seem like the type of guy who'd respect just anyone, so the fact that he thought so highly of Marcus must have really meant something. That guy could be the king of Los Angeles if he wanted to. Hell, probably the whole world. But instead he just hangs out in this porn store and sells giant rubber dicks. Oh, Marcus. Really makes you think, doesn't it? Randall clutched his stomach, doubling over if he just cracked the biggest joke of the century. Mavar. I keep going Mavari. My fault. You got it. Not a whole lot to say about us, really. Mavar don't complicate shit. We just don't stand for unfair rules. The Queen Bitches follow them. Vampires should be able to do what the hell they want. No murder sprees and no revealing your nature in public. Aside from that, we like to live our lives as we damn well please, usually on the wilder side. Got a problem with another vampire? Face them head on, no politics. That shit's for Iskari. We're beast after all. And Mavar don't hide from that. We embrace it. Interesting. Dangerous but interesting. So being a vampire is an excuse to ignore law and order. It's not an excuse for anything. But we're not mortals, so why do we have to live by mortal rules? Trying to make crazy, powerful creatures all play nice with each other is a recipe for fucking disaster. Lying, murder, theft, it's a piece of cake for us. Whatever. You'll understand one day. It makes sense, though. With a weary smile, Randall reaches out to clamp a large hand on my shoulder, squeezing it roughly. Alright kid, it's been fun, but I really need to make sure the others aren't running down gulls in the street or anything else too crazy. Are you sure you're not the leader? Because I mean, I'm usually at the beach with my crew, so if you ever decide to hop onto the winning team... He trailed off and clicked his tongue playfully, winking at me. Thanks, Randall. I'm gonna keep up this thing. He sighed playfully, rubbing at his forehead with one hand. Take care, and hang on to your sanity. And with that, we parted ways. I really like Randall too. I like all three of them, and it's really hard to like. I'm not gonna have a favorite until I play all the routes and understand what the hell's going on. I love the parking garage with a slightly clearer picture of the world I've been tossed into thanks to Randall. Luckily, the guard at the entrance was gone, so I avoided another awkward encounter. Maybe Randall can explain things to him later. The whole mess had worked out somehow, although I had to wonder how much was just beginner's luck, since most of it seemed too convenient to be true. I arrived at the hotel with an overwhelming sense of relief, making my way back to the meeting room from last night. Oh, look at you! Look at this boy! Oh no, my weakness! As it turned out, Charisse and Heath were already waiting for me. Welcome back, Ash. We already heard about the little mess you caused at the parking garage. Word travels fast. Heath's airy voice rang with pride, and he offered me an encouraging smile. She's so good. What is messed up about you? Yes, you did quite an impressive job. Your performance certainly surpassed my expectations. Unsurprisingly, Charisse didn't match Heath's smile, but she did offer me a sharp nod. It was a piece of yeah, but you tricked me, you complete. Yeah, but ahem. Right. Before we go any further, let me clear the air. I predicted that Randall would see through the knife deception. However, you accomplished a twofold task, perhaps without realizing it. You disrupted their truce discussions, at least for now, and you also made yourself known by name to Randall, who is a significantly powerful empire. From the smug light in her tone, I could tell Charisse was pretty pleased with the outcome of events. Did that mean my instincts were right? None of what happened back there was an accident. As I mentioned earlier, your naiveness is assumed by everyone you meet. Even secretive insular vampires will open up to you, simply because they want to win you to their cause. You could use this to your advantage while you still can. Integrate yourself with those who believe you have no allegiances. That seems kind of dishonest. Aren't you trying to win me to your cause? No, I expect your loyalty and not unfairly. Do not forget my clemency in sparing your life. A less charitable leader would have destroyed all of evidence of her mistakes right then and there. Fortunately for you, I believe there's much more potential in your future beyond being an eraser smudge on this page in LA's history. It's starting to stagnate here. Ooh. She sniffed pointedly, nudging her glasses back up her nose. That matter aside, I have another task for you. It entails less conflict, but is of equal importance. Please go on. One of my contacts in South LA was unreachable tonight. I need to know why, but I can't spare any of my other associates to find her. Things are very busy, you see. I imagine she's perfectly fine, as she often manages for a night or two to engage in frivolities, but I'd like to confirm the situation. Go to the area, track her down, report back to me. Not too complicated, is it? It can get complicated. Understood, I'll be back once I found your contact. Excellent, I have the greatest faith you'll carry out that promise. My calm response seemed to please Charisse, who peered at me contently from over her glasses. I don't like being very confrontational. Very well, one last thing, Ash, before you go. I suggest you partner yourself with, or at least try to learn from, an older vampire. My agent here, Heath, is relatively new himself, but he may have some valuable insights on Hollywood to share with you. When Charisse mentioned his name, Heath perked up, his eyes sparkling curiously. Did I hear you compliment me just now, Charisse? I was merely stating the facts. She coolly replied to Heath without missing a beat. Oh, I see. Oh, my baby. Moving along. Marcus, too, possesses resemblable insight and knowledge, but as a Golgotha, he is also particularly eccentric, and his loyalties are unpredictable. Take everything he says with a grain of salt. And this may come to a surprise. If you decide to seek out Randall as a mentor, I won't stop you. I acknowledge the strength of his position, as well as his charisma and conviction. However, do not let yourself be swayed by his anarchistic beliefs. The current war is proof of what happens when vampires eschew leadership: chaos, paranoia, and bloodshed. Thanks for advice. I'll choose carefully. So you should. The decision may be the most important one you'll ever make. Keith and I will be staying here to discuss affairs. We'll expect your report in the next few days, Ash. She lifted an elegant hand, pointedly gesturing towards the door. My Heath, my love! Heath looks disappointed, flashing me an apologetic grimace. When Cerise wasn't looking, it seemed like he was stuck here for the moment. I took the hint and left, heading towards the elevator. A part of me wondered what affairs they were talking about, but eavesdropping probably wasn't worth the risk. My room welcomed me back with all its pristine, glamorous, lifeless shine. But as relieved and happy as I was to complete my trial, I felt incredibly restless and uneasy. Oh, this background is so good. Oh, what's happening? Lifting the curtains with one hand, I gazed out the window, absorbing the vibrant cityscape before me. Yesterday it had all felt like a dream. Today, reality was finally setting in. I was a vampire, chained to eternity. Trapped behind glass, separated from Hollywood life I dreamed of. So close and forever unreachable. Like the cityscape, that dream would always glitter in the distance, a reminder of what I'd lost. No wonder how strong I was, I still felt like my whole world had just plunged upside down. And I couldn't find anywhere to put my feet. Maybe I really did need a mentor to help me through this. Rules, etiquette, and powers, I could figure those out by myself given enough time. But that wasn't what I needed most. I needed a way to ground myself, to figure out what being a vampire really meant and who I was becoming. The three men Cerise mentioned seemed to know what they were doing, if nothing else. There was a good chance that one of them could help me discover my place in this new life. With that, I made up my mind. Tomorrow I'd go and see Heath. Keith seemed incredibly compassionate, and unless it was a very convincing act, he was also quite attached to me. Still, I knew he must have had struggles of his own. I could see something always lingering behind his eyes. I wasn't in Isakari, but empathy seemed to reach beyond our different houses. And if I partnered myself with him, I'd always have a reminder of humanity close by. Then it was settled. Tomorrow, I'd take a break from running Sharice's errands and go find Heath instead. That thought was only a small pillar in the whirlwind I've been thrown into, but I clung to it as tightly as I could. A little excitement sparked through me as I shut the curtains, curling onto my bed to hide from the coming daylight. If this was what fate had in store for me, then so be it. I would fight and struggle to stay afloat in this world I'd been thrown into, and no matter what, I wouldn't give up. Even if it meant I could never see another sunrise again. It's so good! It's so good! It looks so good! All the updated things look so good! Oh my god, guys, I'm so excited for this game! Okay guys, like usual, links are in the description. Please go support the devs. This game should be coming in 2 to 3 months. It was delayed, but obviously a lot of stuff has been added from the original demo. Like the new sprites, CGs, BGs, the updated stuff, and just, oh my god, I'm so excited. I'll see you guys next time, whenever that is. Bye bye. Oh god, I'm hot. It's hot. I'm sweating. Oh, this is the worst. Oh god, I should have closed my curtain.